Hello there, guys. Okay, so it's been a while since I made my last video, but since then, well, I got quite a few collection updates. I got some cool new items. I got, well, I don't know. I got a lot planned for the future, even though I'm probably not going to upload as much as I did in the past. However, I do plan on uploading pretty frequently again, because I want to review a lot of Melting Snowmen, and I want to put out the facts, because a lot of people don't know a lot about most of these, because they all have pretty wild different stories and details that are hard to notice if you don't have them in person right in front of you, if that makes any sense. So, the first thing I want to go off with this guy is that this guy is a pretty very obscure model. That's the best way to put it. This is the second one we've ever seen. So, how did I get him? Well, my friend Bibi, you probably know her, she found him at a thrift store in pretty rough shape, and then a little bit later, she sold him to me for a great price, and I can't be happier with him. So, what was wrong with him? Well, it was probably clear that, well, the rising was kind of broken. It did the halfway thing where it bounced, and that's just because one of the gears is broken, but not both of them. But I just replaced them both anyway, because even if I didn't, then there's a high chance the other one will break soon anyway, because this guy is old. I don't know the exact year. I'm going to assume 2005. But you want to know something funny? The tag, unlike almost all of these other ones, because they usually all have a year on them. Well, this one specifically does not. And I find that really interesting. Speaking of tags, let's get down here. It's just the typical Magic Power Company tag, and if it'll focus, see no year. And I find that kind of interesting, because typically these do have a year they were made on them. Sorry about that focus issue. But, okay, other things that were wrong with him. He was kind of dirty from the thrift store, so I completely disassembled him. I washed his skin in a big bucket of water with detergent for about an hour. Then I took him out, dried him off, restuffed him, did all the special preparation work, and now he looks quite shiny and brand new. I'm really proud and happy of how well he turned out. I still have some fuzz on him, but that's because my fuzz remover isn't working right now. But he looks really good. He looks a lot better than most of my other snowmen now because of that wash, and I'm super proud, and I'm happy he came like this. So, last thing I did to him, I re-glued this mouth. They all have a pattern of coming undone on the bottom lip, and I don't know why that is, but it's probably just because of pressure and age the hot glue gives out, and that's to be expected. You know, these guys are cheap, they aren't that greatly made, but I hot glued it right back into place, and now it looks pretty good, I think. I also restuffed his face and did a lot of proportion work. Let's see, back here, it's kind of messy, but I had to re-sew this part because the hat was ripping. It was starting to rip in two there. I re-sewn the back of his head here. It's not noticeable at all, and it turned out really good. Last thing I did was I fixed this lip. Now, I'll show you a few pictures beforehand of the actual review that showed that this lip was busted before, and it didn't look all that great, but while I was fixing inside the head, I just tightened it up a bit, and now it looks great. Yeah. His face is also wildly different from how it looked before, just because of all the stuffing repositioning and everything like that. But, okay, what's next for this guy? Okay, as for rarity of him, I really can't give a proper estimate. I know we've seen one before, and it went to a collector. But that's the only one we've ever seen, and it came from a shop that I have never heard of in my life, and I asked all my friends, they've never heard of it either. Now, I can't remember the exact name of the shop. I'll probably put it in the description, or in the beginning of this video, if you're interested, but I can't remember it at the moment. However, it's a small, like, almost local brand, and I guarantee it being a local brand that none of us have heard of, it's pretty damn hard to find. But, yeah. And I find that pretty neat. I'm so glad he was found at a thrift store, and I'm so glad she was willing to sell me him for such a great price. I got him for $30 even, which is a great price for a melting snowman. They're all worth roughly about that much, and I don't regret it at all. He was in kind of rough shape, but after all the work I put into him, he is phenomenal. He looks brand new to me, and I'm so happy with him. I'm repeating myself, but I cannot stress it enough. For some reason, he's a pretty bland variant, with looking very similar to the Patrick model, just with different patches, but he just feels really special to me, and I really love him. He's cool, and okay, now time to get into his details and such. He has a typical striped hat and fluffy bit. I'll also compare him to the Patrick model, which I have right here. And this is a goofy looking one. I need to fix his mouth up, and his rising too, I think. The hat is folded down on this one, where it isn't here. This is folded up, kind of similar to the checker one. Another noticeable difference is this guy has a patch on his head, which Patrick does not. And I find that kind of cool. The face is pretty much the same, actually. Well, they look different, but that's because of the way his stuffing is. Really, there's no changes to it. He doesn't have a scarf, and he never came with one. But something interesting, he has 2 extra buttons. One here, and one down here. And they're on his patches. Now, as for patches, they're all located in a kind of similar spot to Patrick here. Like, we got these 2 down here, patch-wise. We got these 2. These ones over here. These down here. And he has the same kind of buttons on each of his snowballs. Now, for the patterns, you see this material here, it's very similar to the hat on a present base Winnie the Pooh spinner, which is interesting. I find that kind of cool. He has the traditional plain red gloves, as these typically would. Has the usual shovel that these would, and he has the same feet. So yeah, he's overall a pretty run-of-the-mill basic variant, but it's still really cool. I find it interesting that they released so many of them with this kind of hat, because this is like the 4th or the 5th or the 6th even that has this kind of hat and same kind of patchy build, which is really cool. Oh, I named him Devin. So this is just Devin. Let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about with him. Oh, he was probably sold for $20, as most of these were. He works great already now. And I really don't know what else to say about him. So, without further ado, I'll give you the demonstration. And there we go. He works great. He does. His little mouth is adorable. And he has kind of a lip almost, but that's just because of how I glued it. So, what else is there to say? Well, I'll give you a turnaround of him. He looks very cute from the side, and you can see how wide he is. On the back, it's kind of boring. Nothing special. He looks pretty similar to the other patch models, like I said. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say, but I haven't been able to remember it for this whole video. And I feel kind of bad because I might be leaving out important information, but I can't think of anything. So, yeah. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm going to do a Melty Collection video soon, I promise. I meant to do it on Christmas, but I never got the time to. It was a very busy holiday for me. So, I'll see you next time with the next video, which is hopefully going to be the collection, but I'm not sure. It probably won't be because my melting snowmen are everywhere. They're strewn across like 2-3 houses, and they're hard to all assemble sometimes because I have so many. But anyways, thank you again for watching. This is it. This is Kazzy Creations, the one and only, the Melting Snowman Collector, out.